Welcome to Section 4, Formatting. A plain spreadsheet is a boring and unprofessional spreadsheet. Here you will learn some techniques you can use immediately to format your work so that it reads easier on screen and looks much snazzier. By default, every row and column of a new workbook is always set to the same height and width. Each column has a width of approximately 8 characters of the default font. Each row is tall enough to hold one line of the default text, plus some padding. As you work with spreadsheets, you'll run into cases where the cell contents don't fit into the default cell size. In this example, this sentence is too long to fit into cell A1. If you increase the font size of your cell content, Excel automatically adjusts the row height to fit that font. Excel allows you to modify column width in a variety of ways. Your first option is to position your mouse over the column line in the column heading so that the white cross becomes a double arrow. Click and drag the column to the right to increase the column width, or to the left to decrease the column width. The column width will be changed in your spreadsheet. Another option you have is to set the column width to an exact measurement. Select the columns you want to modify. Right-click over the column header so that the Format drop-down menu appears. Choose Column Width and enter a specific measurement. Click OK and the width of each selected column will be changed in your worksheet. Another very useful tool that Excel has built in is to automatically adjust each selected columns so that all the text fits in perfectly. Select the column or columns that you want to modify. Note that you can auto-fit all columns by selecting the entire worksheet with the keyboard shortcut Ctrl-A. In this case, we'll hover the cursor between columns A and B, and then double-click. You also have the option of adjusting multiple columns to the same width. Select the columns that you want to modify. Hover the cursor between two of the column headers, example between B and C. When the double arrow appears, drag to the chosen width, and Excel will adjust all the selected columns to that width. Note that all of the same rules that we've just discussed apply in a similar fashion to row height. Cells are quite bland by default, no border and no fill. The grid lines that you see on your spreadsheet are just guides. They don't even show up when you print. When you start to modify cell borders and fills, you make your work much easier to read and interpret. For example, you can format a cell with a bright color fill that draws attention to the worksheet title, or format important cells with a heavy red border so you can't ignore them. The font group on the Home tab provides you with options for changing a cell's fill color and its border. You can access even more options in the Format Cells dialog box by pressing the keyboard shortcut Ctrl-1. To change the fill color of a cell or a range of cells, first select the specific range, then click on the drop-down arrow on the Fill Color button. As always, a standard palette of colors is provided, as well as an option to choose from the full spectrum. Let's look at a second method for changing the fill color. Select the cell or the range of cells, press Ctrl-1 to open the Format Cells dialog box, click on the Fill tab, pick a color, and click OK. Applying a fill color to every second row is sometimes a useful way to improve readability. To change the border for a cell or a range of cells, select the cell or the range, and click on the drop-down arrow on the border button. Excel gives you a long list of set border options to choose from, as well as a list of commands for drawing your own border. Try your hand at using borders with varying colors, styles, and weights. The only limit is your imagination. If you can't find what you're looking for here, simply click on More Borders at the bottom of the list. This opens up the Format Cells dialog box with the Borders tab selected. Note that you could also get here by using the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+1, or by clicking on the dialog box launcher at the bottom right of the font group, and then switching to the Borders tab. The Borders dialog box lets you build your own customized borders using the buttons here and viewing a sample here. You can also change the style and color of each line in the border using the options down the left. Now that we know how to change a cell's border and fill color, it's time to learn how to change the contents of your cells to make them even more attractive and user-friendly. Sometimes simply changing the font size, alignment, and adding a bold or underline can drastically improve the readability of your work. Also, changing the number format can tell you at a glance that one column is money and one is not. Excel gives you loads of tools for formatting cell contents, and best of all, they're all in one place, the Format Cells dialog box. Remember, the keyboard shortcut for this is Ctrl+1. You can use the tools on the number, font, and alignment tabs to change many aspects of the text and numbers in your worksheets. You also have formatting options accessible right from the Home tab on the ribbon, in particular on the font, alignment, and number groups. For example, use the drop-down list on the font group to change your font size and typeface. Or you can click on the bold, italics, or underline buttons to apply those formats. Use the tools in the Alignment tab to specify how text appears within cells. Wrap text breaks the text down into multiple lines so that the cell height stretches, but it still fits within the cell's original width. Use the Merge and Center button to merge a range of cells into one and to center the contents. This is very useful for headings. The alignment buttons allow you to position your text vertically and horizontally, exactly as you want it within the cell. The tool in the Numbers group lets you tell Excel how you want numbers to appear, for example with currency signs, percentages, or decimals. The drop-down list gives a variety of other formats. General is the default for all cells in Excel. Choosing number format displays numbers with 2 decimal places. To increase or decrease the decimal places displayed, click on these buttons. The difference between currency and accounting format is where the currency symbol appears. You can use either, depending on your preference. My choice is always accounting, as I think it looks neater. Short date and long date are ways for you to display dates neatly. Play around with these different formats. The best way to learn is through trial and error. And remember, if you can't find what you're looking for, there's always more options available in the Format Cells dialog box. Notice how each group on the ribbon contains a dialog box launcher button at the bottom right. This is a shortcut to take you to the Format Cells dialog box. Let's now take a look at how we can apply some of these formats to our spreadsheet. We can start by selecting all the headings and clicking the bold button or using the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+B. Then we can align them in the center so it's clear that they are headings. You can change the main heading's font size, color, and typeface to give your worksheet the style that you're looking for. What about number formats? You need this column to display with a rand sign? No problem. Highlight the range and click the Accounting Format button on the ribbon. You already know how to make your spreadsheets look professional with text, number, and cell formatting. Now it's time to learn how to add the finishing touches to an entire worksheet. You can add a worksheet background like the one shown here. This adds a unique flavor to your work. A worksheet background is an image that appears behind the cells and their contents. If a cell has no fill, like this one, then the background image or color becomes the cell's fill. If the cell or range already has its own fill, then the background won't be applied to those cells. In addition to a background, worksheet themes make global font and color changes in your workbook. You apply both backgrounds and themes from the Page Layout tab on the ribbon. Note that you can select a background picture from your hard drive or download an image off the internet. Here's an important point to remember. Most formatting appears on screen as well as in a printed worksheet. However, a background image appears on screen only. And that's a wrap for section 4. Recapping what we covered, we discovered how to format your cells and cell contents so that they tell the right story. We also saw how we could adjust rows and columns, as well as finish off our spreadsheets with themes and backgrounds. In section 5, we'll discover all the tricks and techniques you need in order to print your worksheets properly.